So what do you think? Did I achieve my 100K last year? The answer is hello everyone. Welcome to the Quantarise channel where we talk about my adulting life in Singapore. So before we start, I just want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a Happy New Year. So this video is about a review of my budget in 2023. And to be more precise, is actually my 2023 net worth review, which means that I will be discussing about how much asset that I own and how much liability that I owe. So I will try to be as transparent as possible to you guys. So are you guys excited to see what is the content? So before we begin, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Hopefully the YouTube algorithm can reach a wider audience. Alright, so a little bit about myself. My name is Justin, as you can see from this screen, right? My nickname is Quantarise. Why Quantarise? Because I used to study physics, and you know, physics is studying about quantum mechanics. So I just came out with a random thoughts like, why not I just Quantarise something, right? So and hence this becomes my nickname ever since, right? I'm actually 27 as of now, because I have not passed my birthday yet, right? I work as an instructor in a university. So if you know which university am I in, good for you. So you know, we can have a chat sometimes in real life, right? So why this channel or video? So actually I decided to document my journey into adulthood in Singapore since last year. Because me myself, I come from Malaysia and I'm still single. Definitely staying as a single in Singapore can be quite challenging, right? So I decided to actually want to share my experience, my hobby, and my daily life challenge to you know, to you guys. So actually the support and comments from like-minded individuals like you guys actually make this journey a very fulfilling journey lah. So actually for that, I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart. Right, so if you are new to this channel, I actually previously shared a 3-part series discussing about how I managed to survive in Singapore with just $5,000 per month. Right, so that was 2023, of course. And this video, on the other hand, right, served as a review to that budget video, right? So you can actually find the budget video links in the description box down below. So if you are interested, you know, you can feel free to watch the video first before you come back to this video. Alright, so let's get started with my monthly budget analysis in 2023. So I'll be posting my expected budget versus the actual amount that I spend or save, alright, in this analysis. So next, this is my expected budget, which I did at around 30th of April 2023, right? So actually I posted this budget analysis, right, in a Google Sheet, and you can actually download the Google Sheet. Links in the description box down below, of course. So as you can see, I have variable categories and a fixed category. So variable means this amount can be subjected to change as we move along, whereas the fixed category are those that I find should be fixed throughout the whole year, right? And I will not be doing much changes to that. But of course, in actuality, everything seems to be a little bit different, alright? So yeah, you can see what's coming out next. Okay, so this is the actual budget that I spent on average throughout the whole year of 2023. As you can see, those fixed amount that I mentioned are not really fixed, right? They do change a little bit because previously it was my expectation that it's fixed, but actually it's changed by a little bit, right? Perhaps my miscalculation, or you know, sometimes I overspend or underspend. As you can see over here, my bank saving is negative over here. Later I will explain why. Alright, so let us start by talking about the gym expense. Okay, so as you can see, my gym expense actually decreased by 15%. by $1.67. The reason that I can think of is in some weeks I slack a little bit, right? And I also got COVID this year, and hence that whole week itself I cannot go to the gym. And because of that, perhaps I did not spend too much on the gym. So moving on to the telecommunication category. In this category, I actually overspent by a little bit, by $2.57. Because previously, right, in my expected budget, I did not take the prepaid expense into account. So because I regularly go back to Malaysia, and for that, I need to top up my prepaid in Malaysia, and hence I forgot to record that in my budget previously. So if I take the Malaysia prepaid plan into account, I did spend a little bit more. Next, we have the utility category. This one, I did cut down by a little bit. I actually over-expected that I will spend a lot. But because we don't use too much of electricity and water, and hence this part we managed to save by a little bit more. Alright, so the moment we have been waiting for, which is the bank account. So why is it negative, you may ask? So the simple answer is actually I borrow money from my friend, right? So because it's borrowing, so I did not include that amount of money into my bank saving, and that's why I deduct it off, and actually I got a deficit, which is the minus over here. So actually this is not good, right? Definitely don't follow me. It's not a good advice, because I expect myself to save quite a lot, but actually I spend more than I save, and hence I need to borrow some money from my friend to cover them up. So to that friend who are watching this, thank you so much for saving my life. So without you, I don't think I will be able to survive in 2023. I will definitely return your money as soon as possible. And yeah, thanks. So moving down to the list, we have the dental braces. Right, as you can see, I'm still having my braces on. In fact, I checked my budget. I actually spent a little bit more, slightly more actually, $25.42. The reason is because there's one time where I went back to the dentist to tighten my braces. The dentist actually wanted me to have a deep cleaning right before we proceed. So that's why I did not expect that. And of course, I decided to include that in this category. Alright, so for insurance, this part I admit I miscalculated by a little bit, just off by $4.49. So it should be alright. So let's move on to the next one. Alright, so the most money that I spent on is actually this category, which is the F&B, the grocery, the entertainment, and so much more. Okay, so this year I actually bought a new phone, and in fact, I'm using this phone to film this video because I think this phone is quite good and it's quite high quality. And I also bought a new phone for my mom. So yeah, I definitely overspent quite a lot. And of course, if you all did watch my previous video, which I actually spent some amount of money into Pokemon cards. Alright, so if you are interested, do watch that video. Maybe I'll put a link somewhere above here. Alright, so do check that out as well. And for that, I actually overspent by a large margin, which you can see over here, $1,557.91 as compared to my previous expected of about $344. Another confusing part is actually I did not include a separate category for the entertainment part, where I spend on my hobbies, on my other stuff. So for the pocket money for family, I decreased my expense by a little bit because this year alone, my sister actually found a job. And for that, I do not need to give her allowance monthly. And from there, I actually decreased my budget thanks to her lah. Right, so next is the CPF category. So just to take note, I actually excluded the employer contribution to my CPF. This is only my own contribution, right, which is the employee contribution. I actually overestimated my budget. In fact, I actually contributed a little lesser than what I expected, as you can see over here. Okay, so for the rental category, it's also lesser than what I expected because as I mentioned, my sister got a job and she actually moved in to stay with me. And because of that, I don't need to spend too much on the rental fee because I have more people to share the burden with me. Alright, so for that, thanks to her as well, I managed to save $62.50 on average per month. Moving down to the second last of the category, which is the education budget. Right, so this is actually a very good news. So I did cut down by a lot on this category. Long story short, I actually took a part-time studying in master this year, and because of that, I need to fork out some money in my pocket to actually fund this education fee. The good news is I managed to apply for a staff concession and they actually granted me the concession. Maybe because I'm working in the same university, that's why I'm eligible for this discount. I managed to save about $797.81 per month due to that. Alright, the last part is actually the investment. This one I managed to increase by a little every month on average, maybe by $42. I actually wanted to invest even more, but because as I mentioned, I spent quite a lot on Pokemon cards and my phone, and that's why I did not manage to invest much more than what I expect lah. But still, it's an increase and I'm quite happy about that. So what can be done better in 2024? Definitely, the first thing is to allocate more fund into the bank saving and my investment. For that to happen, I definitely need to cut down on my spending, right? So 2024 will be a year of less spending, right, in my dictionary. And of course, for the CPF part, maybe I will consider taking the employer contribution into account because I find it quite challenging to download all my payslip just to separate the employer and the employee contribution so that I can get the rough estimate of my monthly contribution to the CPF. So in the future, I will just include the employer contribution to avoid all this unnecessary, work. And of course, the last but not least, which is I will introduce a new expense category to actually distinguish between my food and drinks and the entertainment budget. Right, enough of all the grandmother story. So the moment you all have been waiting for, which is, did I actually achieve a net worth of $100,000 in 2023? Right, so I actually did mention a little bit on the part 3 of my budget video series where I briefly mentioned that I wanted to achieve 100k by the age of 30. So if you roughly calculate, I still have like 2 or 3 years more to achieve that goal. So did I actually achieve? Okay, before that, I will just show you my net worth in the beginning of 2023, right? So I did check, I actually have a net worth of about $54,616.06. Actually, I invested quite a lot. As you can see in this list, I have invested a total amount of $56,209.40. But sadly, the actual investment is only about $42,263.17. So you all remember, right? 2022 is a correction year in stock market, and therefore I lost quite an amount of money, represent a negative 24.81% loss. And of course, I have my bank balance, CPF, as well as some deposit, right? So if you added up all the both number, that will sum up to $54,000. So what do you think? Did I achieve my 100k last year? The answer is yes, right? So I managed to have a net worth of $101,613.83, right? The total money that I invested, including gold, which I actually mentioned in my previous video, is about $76,000, right? The actual investment, including gold, is $72,651.01. Still a loss, right, of 4%. But definitely much better than 2022. That one quite a big loss. Right now, I managed to reduce to just 4% loss. Right? Some of you may ask, how come it's still lost? Because 2023 is a good year for stock market, right? I will not tell you which stock that I invested, but definitely I will discuss that in my next video, so stay tuned. So you can see I have my bank balance here, CPF, as well as the deposit. So if I include all the both number, that will sum up to a total amount of 101k. And some of you may say I'm cheating because I included my CPF in it. But in my opinion, I still think that CPF is my own money. It's just that I cannot take it out until the age of 65. Definitely it's still my own money. That's why I'm still included in this portion. And of course, for those of you, right, if you still think that CPF is not your own money, I will just minus for the sake of you guys. So if I minus off the CPF and deposit, I'll still manage to have a net worth of 71k, as you can see over here. But definitely I'm happy about my outcome thus far. Okay, so this is the summary, the amount of money that I earn, the amount of money that I spend, the amount of money I save, and of course the amount of money that I invested. So from the top to the bottom, the amount of money that I earned thus far is 71k, okay, in 2023. So this total amount invested is actually minus off the 2023 amount invested versus 2022 amount invested, right? So if you minus that number, you will get a net of $19,708.50. So the net amount invested is actually the invested money that included in the dividends and the profit from my options, right? For that, I get a net invested amount of $30,387.84. Okay, definitely much more to cover back the losses from 2022. The net bank balance is of course quite negative if I compare 2022 with 2023. So I will definitely return this money once I get my salary in, right? So the net CPF contributed in 2023 is $20,120.77. So if you minus off all the differences between the money that I earned versus the amount of money that I invested and CPF contribution, I'll get a total amount of money that I spent, which is about $34,984.50. Actually quite a lot. My 2024 goal is definitely to reduce this red color number. Right, so over here, if you manage to watch the part 3 of my budget video, I did mention that I aim to save at least 38.93%, okay, if you include the CPF, and of course 27.6% if I exclude the CPF. Okay, that's my saving rate that I expected last year, and this is the actual saving rate amount. So if I include the CPF, it's 33.8%. Without CPF, it's actually 23.2%. Definitely much lesser than I expected, but yeah, I'll work harder in this year. Hopefully it will be on par with my expectation, or in fact much better than my own expectation. So am I satisfied so far? If I take the CPF into consideration, it actually took me about 3 years to achieve this 100k goal. So why 3 years? Because 3 years ago, I started my first job until now, and I actually finally achieved it, right? So far, of course, I'm feeling happy lah. Definitely happy, right? Because I achieved my own goal much earlier than I expected. So I also wanted to take this opportunity to emphasize the importance to track your own budget. So if you track your budget well, you actually know where your money will be spent, where your money will be saved. If you want to retire early like me, I need to be very disciplined of myself. So in my next milestone, alright, of course, now that I have my 100k, I will aim to achieve 150k with CPF. And of course, without CPF, that will be 100k by the end of this year. And because I have achieved the 100k with CPF, right, definitely I need to change my long-term goal already. So by the age of 30 now, I want to achieve a net worth of 200k without CPF. I forgot to include that here. Definitely still a long way to go. I still got like 2 years. Okay, some of you may think 2 years is very long. Maybe some of you think it's short. I'll let you guys know again. So stay tuned for more videos, alright, about my budget, about my review. Okay, I will see you guys in my next video.